I thought that was my mama. The person that I referred to as mama was not my mother. But let me tell you what happened. So I grew up in this little town many people probably still haven't heard of, Indiantown. It was a very small town. It had 9 streets. Actually, didn't even have running water in most of the homes. I had an outhouse, but that was my lifestyle. I didn't know I was poor until I saw other people with more, and then I knew that I was pretty darn poor. Growing up in Indiantown as a kid, in school, kids used to torment me about my mama. They would say things like, your mama old. Your mama got gray hair. Your mama don't have no teeth. And I would go home crying, and I would tell my mama, Mama, I want you to get some teeth. And she would say, Creasy, what the devil for? And I said, so people won't pick at you. And she said, I don't care nothing about people picking at me. Who picking at me? What people? I said, my friends. She said, your friends aren't picking at me. Now, I didn't get it at the time. I said, yes, they are. She said, no, Creasy, your friends wouldn't do things to make you cry. Those are not your friends. They're not your friends. They wouldn't make you cry. So I said, just get some teeth. She said, then when I get some teeth, they're going to talk about something else. No matter what you do, if somebody wants to say something about you, they're going to find something to talk about. They're going to find something to talk about, Creasy. Go back to school, same torture. To the point where I didn't even want to go to school. I'm in like 1st grade, and I wanted to drop out of 1st grade because of the way kids would torment me. So one day on the playground, one of the little kids said, they started it, Creasy, goody, your mama got gray hair. And then another one would chime in, and her mama don't have no teeth. Another one chime in, and her mama old. And then it just, your mama old, your mama don't got no teeth, and your mama got gray hair, and your mama ugly. And I couldn't take it anymore. I threw the first lick. I did. And when I tell you, those kids were on me like piranhas, they tore my butt up. The teacher had to pull them off me. Now, I didn't think that they were going to do that to me. I just thought I was going to take on the one that I hit. I didn't know the other one was going to like be the backup. Teacher pulled him off me. We all go to the little principal's office or the guidance office, and they ask what happened. Creasy started it. Creasy hit her, and we were helping our friend. Teacher, they asked me what happened. I said, they keep talking about my mama, and just crying. They just keep talking about my mama. I'm tired of them talking about my mama. We all get notes to take home. We gotta sit in the principal's office. I can't remember if it was called principal or guidance, but whatever it was, we had to sit there for the duration of the day. They separated them from me. So we all get a note to take home. I get home, I'm sobbing because this note is in an envelope and I don't know what it says. And this was back when you could get whoopings. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get a whooping. My hair is messed up. My clothes messed up. We didn't have it to be tearing up no clothes, ripping no clothes. And I didn't feel like getting my hair washed with some Tide detergent. So now my hair messed up. I got dirt all in my hair. I know I'm thinking it's going to go down. I get home, give my mama the note, and I'm crying. I'm going to just go ahead and get my crying out. Like, I want my grandmother to my mama, I thought, to understand what my day was like. So she gets to know. Now, granted, this is my great grandmother. This is my mother's grandmother. So she gets to know, and this lady only had a 3rd grade education, but she could read quite well to be so undereducated. She reads it. She says, Creasy, why you up there at that school fighting? Because they keep talking about you, and that's why I told you to get some tea and make your hair black. She said, but I'm still going to be old, and they still going to have something to talk about. She said, sit here. Let mama explain something to you. You need to know something. She said, you know that lady that comes here to visit? And I'm looking like, what lady? Because a lot of people come to visit us. We're in Indiantown. Everybody's in Palm Beach County or further. So I'm looking like, what lady? And she said, Pat. You know that lady that comes in to visit sometimes? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, that's your real mama. I said, no, it's not. Because she never introduced herself to me as her mom. She would come she would come to town because I would hear the family saying they're all going to the Cadillac Club. So I didn't feel like the lady was coming to visit me. She was coming to go to the club. And again, she never introduced herself as I'm your mom. It was always Pat. Actually, I called her Miss Pat. And my grandmama said, Mama at the time said, don't you call her Miss Pat. You could just call her Pat. And she said, yeah, just call me Pat. So that's what I called her. She said, that's your real mama. Young. She got that pretty brown hair, those pretty brown eyes. That's your mama. And I'm so confused, because if that's my mama, what am I doing here with this old lady? And I loved my great grandmother. She was good to me, but I'm not understanding. So I said, so why do I live with you? She said, Creasy, you asked so many questions, baby. She said, but I guess at that point, my grandmother just felt like it's time this child knows the truth. And she broke it to me the only way she knew how. She said, you're what they call an outside child. And I said, like, I have to go outside? She said, no, baby. Your mother was 14 when she had you. And your father was a married man. Your father had a wife and children. So your mother just didn't know what to do with the baby. And when you were 2 weeks old, your father went and got you. You were with your mom. Your mom was outside playing jump rope with the kids. And she had you underneath the bed. So my father had purchased a crib for me. And my mother had me underneath the mattress with the mattress on me. And she said, your father found you like that, and he took you to the hospital. I had from crying, I guess no one was attending to me. And my navel was the size of a golf ball. So my father ended up taking me to the hospital. I believe I was in the hospital for about a week. Now, I'm a week old when my father discovered me under the mattress. And my father takes me to the hospital. I was in the hospital for about a week because I was around 2 weeks old when he took me to my grandmother. And she said he had no place else to bring you. Your mother's mother couldn't take care of you because she had her own baby. I have an uncle that we're right next to each other in age. And she said his mother couldn't take you in because as an outside child, his mother had a loyalty. She didn't use that word, but that's essentially what it was. My father's mother had loyalty to her daughter-in-law. So she wasn't going to take in her son's outside child. Like, who does that? She wasn't going to do it. I don't know who does it, but she wasn't going to do it. And she said, your father brought you to me, and he said, Miss Jetty, please take my baby. Because if you don't take her, the next stop is a foster home. I have nowhere else to go, nowhere else to turn. And my grandmother took me in. Now, when she took me in, when I do the math, she was well into her late 60s, 70s, early 70s. But when I do the math, I think my math had her being at around 72 years old. So imagine that, in her 70s. Someone in their 70s taking a 2-week-old baby. So she says, so the next time they say that to you, you tell them the truth. Just like I just told you. Tell them you got a mama that's young and pretty, with pretty brown hair and pretty brown eyes. Just tell them. Now, I'm sitting there, I'm like 6 years old, and I'm trying to digest the fact that I've just been told the woman that I thought was my mother isn't my mother, that my father rescued me from underneath a mattress. I was one stop from foster care, and I'm feeling a mixture of emotions. Who am I? I was confused, but at the same time, I was happy to know that I had some ammunition. I had something to fight with the next day at school. So the next day at school, I'm hoping the kids will say something to me, but I'm assuming they got in trouble for picking at me, and they didn't want to say anything to me. They got in trouble at the school, and they probably got in trouble at home. So we're on the playground. They don't say anything to me. Nothing. They don't look at me. They don't say nothing to me. But now I need them to say something to me because I need to get them the good news. So I thought. By day, maybe a few days later, they were still trying to not say anything to me. I walked past them and I did this to incite them to say something, and it worked. Your mama is old and ugly and bald head with gray hair, and your mama don't have no teeth, but they whispering. And I said, because my real mama name is Pat, and she young, and she got pretty brown hair and pretty brown eyes, so that ain't even my real mama. Man, what did I want to say that for? Why did you say that, Creasy? Because you know what they said? That's why your mama don't love you. That's why your mama gave you away now, and she gave you to that old ugly lady. That's why your mama don't love you. Your mama don't love you. I was devastated. Devastated. I had no comeback for that. I'm 6. I can't take on all these children. I had no comeback. And you know what? I was feeling the same way. And when I went home, I told my mama, I was still calling her mama, and I said, I want to go live with my real mama so I can show them that she does love me and she does want me. And she said, Creasy, it ain't that easy, baby. It ain't that easy. And she was right, because I made so many attempts to live with my real mother, and none of them turned out good. But that'll be in the next story time. Oh, and I'm sure you know I'm Creasy, Jetty Lee's grandbaby. I hope you join me for the next story time, something exciting, sharing with you my journey, childhood journey up until adulthood. I hope you like my story. I hope you make a comment, share it, subscribe to my channel, See you in the next story time.